is everywhere. That's a really nice intro. I think I should use that if I can remember it. But I'll rewatch this. So Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer, the Dana White Contender Series alumni. Ah, I predicted this fight on UFC Mexico or something like that. And on UFC Mexico, I only got one fight wrong, which was Christian Rodriguez versus Melquizael Costa. Right? That's the only fight I got wrong on that particular card. And on that particular card, I had picked Kelvin Gastelum to beat Joe Pyfer. Right. But I've since changed my pick. I've since changed my pick to Joe Pyfer. My subscribers are also picking Joe Pyfer to actually win this one. I picked Kelvin Gastelum because obviously because of experience. That was an important aspect or an element of picking Joe Pyfer. But I mean, Kelvin Gastelum initially, right? Even though right now I'm picking Joe Pyfer, initially it was mainly because of experience. I think he has fought better competition. Even though his career has not looked particularly great recently, I felt like he was going to be a little bit better as far as technical striking abilities. And even the takedown defense, I thought it would be a little bit better. However, let me just go to the breakdown of this particular fight. I feel like Joe Pyfer obviously is going to have a reach advantage, a 3.5-inch reach advantage. Joe Pyfer is more of a finisher than Calvin Gastelum. Obviously, Pyfer has a 92% finishing rate, while Gastelum has a 60% finishing rate. Power obviously goes to Joe Pyfer, but I mean, Calvin Gastelum has power. But I think the height as well as the reach advantage is going to be a bit of a problem. Both of them have more or less the same amount of volume output as far as striking abilities go. Just that I feel like Calvin, what do you call him? Joe Pyfer's gas tank is a little bit sus, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Technical striking abilities, I don't know. I'm leaning, even though I feel like they are more or less on the same level. I'm leaning towards a bit of Kelvin Gastelum, but he's been looking really terrible in his previous fights. So I don't know how I feel about that particular fight, or but how I feel about him having the technical striking abilities or the advantage. But still, I'm in between when it comes to that. I just feel like they are more or less on the feed. So I think that 3.5-inch reach advantage that Joe Pyfer has in such a close striking matchup that I feel like they are more or less even as far as technique. They are more or less on the same level. So that 3.5-inch reach advantage is going to be a massive element as far as deciding who's going to get this one done. Grappling abilities, I think it's also more or less the same thing. Both of them are not particularly great as far as takedown defense. So I can see Calvin Gastelum having success with the takedowns. I can see Joe Pyfer having success with the takedowns. Um, yeah, in all honesty, this is a coin flip for me. And in such a close fight, I would normally go with the fighter with more experience. However, unfortunately, I can't do that because I changed my prediction strategy. But this fight for me is going to be exceedingly close. The striking abilities, I think they are more or less the same, but I'm going to lean more towards Pyfer because of the 3.5-inch reach advantage. The wrestling abilities, both of them are both horrible defensively. Offensively, I feel like both of them are more or less on the same level. So for me, this is a coin flip, to be honest. It's hard to say who I'm leaning towards, but I think Kelvin Gastelum, with the experience, just that his most recent fights have looked really terrible. I'm not gonna lie, his recent fights have looked really terrible. But I've always said in a fight where I feel like both fighters are evenly matched, I always go with whoever has the experience advantage. And in this particular fight, it's Calvin Gastelum. Both of them have a bit of power. Even though Joe Pyfer maybe might have a bit more power than Kelvin Gastelum, both of them. Okay, I think Kelvin Gastelum is more of a finisher than. I mean, Joe Pyfer is more of a finisher than Kelvin Gastelum. That's the advantage. Joe Pyfer has a bit of a reach advantage. I mean, that's also important. So, in all honesty, it's kind of challenging. Both of them are really defensively terrible. As far as grappling goes, offensively, they are more or less on the same level. I can see a situation where Kelvin Gastelum takes down Joe Pyfer, and I can see a situation where Joe Pyfer takes down Kelvin Gastelum. As far as grappling goes, I think this fight is going to look like Jafel Filho versus Alan Nascimento. That's genuinely how I see this fight playing out. As far as the grappling exchanges go, even on the feet, it's gonna be very close. So uh, I would go with the more experienced fighter, but I changed my strategy. Good luck to you guys. I love and appreciate all of you. If you're just joining the stream, you can go rewatch all the predictions that and breakdowns that I just made, including this one. It's gonna be available on the live section of the channel. I love and appreciate all of you. Until next time, deuces. Shawshot Mickey, thank you, man. I was about to bounce. Thank you. You can rewatch the stream. I just finished. I'm breaking this one down. Thank you for that, man. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Deuces.